Blight had taken his nose, half an ear, the flesh around his eyes, but it had not taken his mind or his muscle. He was tall and gaunt, in a suit of steel, without a helm to hide his face. He walked the narrow mountain paths with a slow, shuffling gait, like a predator that held all its fury for one fatal move. His horse was lean and battered, straining with each step, afraid to cross the pass at all. He had the reins of the fell steed wrapped around one hand, while he dragged his great sword with the other. "Hail, Alaric!" a young rider crowed. He held the black banner of the crawling court, the severed head of a white bull, red eyes wide and weary. Alaric knew the feeling. "How far have you come, swordsman?" "Far," Alaric said. "What does it matter to you, pup? If you're here on behalf of your king, the answer is still no." The pup shook his head and sighed. "You are mad, Alaric. The court has made you a generous offer. The court doesn't need me. Passing through this land, same as you. I'm bringing my steel to someone who does have need of it. Begone from here, pup, or I'll teach you and your brothers why your crawling king wants me in the first place." He raised his mailed fist to the boy knight on the cliff, threat it seemed the pup did not wish to test. "Hell, you say? Then hell it shall be, Alaric!" He rode off without another word. Alaric cursed. "I guess we'll have some trouble on the road after all," he told the dark horse. "I've never thought the court would be so persistent." He led his steed along the mountain path until he could safely mount, the great sword slung from a strap over his shoulder. He then rode for the hills to the south, patchy brown and black from the blight of the land. It had been the old sorcerers who killed the grass and trees, needing a sacrifice of life for their rituals. Better than blood, he figured. Madmen had flooded with the sorcerers they left behind, to build their dams and feed their crops out east, leaving black moors and a grey-green rot upon the barrows. He had hoped he'd be the only one fool enough to cross such wild, haunted country. He was wrong. 100 horses chewed dead grass on the horizon, the sun a shadow behind them, red within a haze of evening mist, and steam rising from the moors. The animals whickered with disdain for this place. He could not blame them. 100 horses had 100 knights to ride them, 100 grooms to tend them, and 200 men-at-arms to defend them. 400 in all. Alaric spurred his horse to the lowest slopes of a grey and rotten barrow, as if charred by fire, but still wet from the damp of the surrounding countryside. It was a place Alaric wished he did not know so well, for it seemed to suck the life right out of you. He hoped he had no life left to give, that he was just a husk of his former self. He would be ashamed to lose his humanity to an ugly lump of stone. Even so, he took from his horse's saddlebags the supplies he needed, and made camp in the shadow of the hill, the crawling court well in sight. The fire lit upon the dead, wet grass. He sat hunched in his armor, feeling the ache of his journey as it scuttled throughout his body. He had fetched from his pack a white cloak with silver bells stitched into its folds. Bright bells rattled and sang even in the stillness of the gathering gloom. White silk draped over his sloped shoulders. In his hands he held not the great sword, but a battered lute with gold strings. So he played for the spirits of the hills. He played for the crawling court that watched him from afar. He played for the living, for the dead, for all that ever was and ever will be. So he played his song and waited for the court to come.